He felt offended, and I believe this happens when there are brokers who are a bit inexperienced. He portrayed himself as having a lot of experience in multifamily properties.
I'm not trying to be a punk. I'm just pushing back because you're pushing on me, right?
Taking advantage of small players who do not know what they are doing, and that is why they are willing to pay you a price above the actual value. And he accepted it.
Alexis,
Josefina.
mire, le pedí a Norma que me ayudara a investigar lo del agente y dice que en los documentos que firmó para cuando firmen el contrato, para cuando vas a vender una propiedad, aparece el nombre personal del señor y una compañía.
Who told you that?
Una señora que es realtor.
But who is...
Norma.
But in the document at the end it says Gary. Or who should we call? Well, it says Gary is the contact and offer process. So who is that lady? Ah, so you already know her? Okay, I got it. Okay. Perfect. Let me see something.
And they are really selling it to us for double what they bought it for.
Validated you?
Yes?
Yes. Look at this. I was just doing some deeper research. And the cap rate in the area ranges from 5.5 to 6.5. So we can set it at the midpoint, which would be 6%. This means we will sum the income again to have a clearer idea. Because if the cap rate decreases, the value of the property increases. However, I believe they are still overvalued. Let's validate. He says, the first property, the net operating income is $29,479. And to put it in context, Josefina, do you know what net operating income is? Clean, exactly. Before the bank debt is not considered there. It's like in a business. Income minus expenses equals net income. That is what is called net operating income. Based on that, commercial properties are valued. This means that the first one says $29,479, the second one says $48,086, and the third one says $19,684. So our net operating income is $100,196 among the three properties. If we divide that by the cap rate of the area, which gives us 6% according to the study I did, it ranges from 5.5 to 6.5. We take the midpoint, right? To avoid being too conservative or too aggressive, 0.06 indicates that the value of the three properties together is. This means that if he is asking for 2.1, he is asking for $430,000 above the actual value. Now, let's call him to see what is on his mind, and he is probably doing it as a starting point for negotiation. What happens is, look at the following, Josefina. He is going to take a look, and I will give you the full explanation because I have been doing multifamily for a while, and I went through this at the beginning. Many times there are novice people who do not understand these calculations and say, oh sure, but I'll pay you, I'll buy it from you, because they have the money or have the loan approved, so they buy it. And many times when it comes to small properties, right? Because this is a small property, dollars are not a lot of money. When we are talking about properties worth 30, 20, 30, 40, 50 million, these brokers only handle sales with large buyers, which are these hedge funds, banks or individuals like you and me, but who have been in the business for many years and have a lot of experience, know that there will be small players who have a lot of experience in single family homes and maybe some experience in small multifamily properties who want to make a leap to 23 apartments, for example, but don't know how to play the game. Many times they put those numbers to overvalue the property and sell it at a higher price unnecessarily because that's not fair, right? But then when you call him and say, you will see, we are going to call him now and I am going to ask him certain key questions to try to make him understand that I am not a fool. I know your bad number and I know that you are asking me for a higher price. And, well, you will see how I handle the conversation. Okay? Hello, I am Alexis. I am from AV Hedge Investment and I am on your list. This is Mason's property. It is a 23-unit agreement. I have been actively acquiring multifamily properties throughout the state of Ohio, specifically targeting assets with potential value and top operational performance. Let's see if we can have one on a call. I would appreciate it if you could respond, and then from there, what would I do? Josefina. What I would do is have that conversation with him, but to what extent is he willing to, why the price? Isn't it normal? Of course, I don't dismiss the idea. If we were able to secure seller financing, I wouldn't mind paying that difference. But you have to know about owner financing. If we go through the bank, no. First, because the numbers won't make sense. And second, the bank won't accept it. It won't approve it. But that is something that needs to be seen for less.
But because the lady was telling me about the unit. 100 and something? Wow. Wow. And the other one was bought for...
That's the safest bet. He has a loan, a good interest rate. And we could also do a sub to loan or a sum to fly in either one. Look, he replied to me. Hello, I am messaging everyone to send this link to themselves due to activities. Check out the documents, download the offer memorandum, and let me know more about the text after your review. The owner decided not to allow it to be shown. Considering the possibility of joining a group tour, we have received a substantial number of offers from various sources. As a result, the team is planning to commence a thorough review of all these offers starting tomorrow. The owner has expressed a clear preference to avoid conducting any showings at this time, as they want to ensure a comprehensive evaluation of the proposals before proceeding with any further steps. This approach will allow us to make a well-informed decision that aligns with our goals and expectations, and that he will be receiving offers tomorrow at that time. But this is not a residence, this is multifamily. So I am going to respond to that text letting them know that I understand perfectly. I am not looking for a show. I just want to have a conversation and learn a little more about the details of the property and information that is not in the offering memorandum because I want to know why the price is not.
It's Alexis.
Hey, Alexis. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
Nice. Yeah, so I was going through the offering memorandum, and we have been actively acquiring properties, not only in the state but also in other states as well. And I was doing what we call the napkin on the writing, based on the T12 that is on the OM, and I wanted to ask, so what's the cap rate that you guys are trading this property for?
I don't know. It's all because they're not in the OM. I don't know. Run the math. It's what's the asking price? 2.3 basically, right? It's a $97,000 NOI, so 97,000 divided by 2.3. Let's say it's a 4.2 cap rate.
So what's the cap rate in the area besides this property, in generally speaking?
It's usually higher, but it's going to be compressed compared to other markets in the area. It's just this is the price per pound deal, right? So it's an owner with lower rents than what they should be, and I'm sure you've seen these deals before, right?
Yeah.
So you can't really go by cap rate, right?
Well, I was wondering because the cap rate that I'm getting from other property managers and brokers in the area, they said that is 5.5 to 6.5. That I can take the middle range 6%.
For Cincinnati.
Yeah, but the seller is asking for 4%. I think that is a little lower, which is the price is higher, and I was wondering why.
What's price per pound deal? Look at the rents, and look at the rent survey, right? It's the sticks and bricks are worth more than the trailing numbers. It's not going to meet debt service coverage ratios either, right? You never bought a deal like this?
Well, we have purchased more than 1,000 units across the nation. The thing is that,
well, it'd be like buying a unstabilized property, right? One that's completely vacant. You go in and renovate, and you're not going to have any cap rate there, right?
yeah, and that's exactly.
You understand. So let's just beat around the bush. You and I both understand the business, right? If you don't like the price, that's okay. But I've got plenty of offers at full price offers. So that's the point I'm trying to make, right?
Which is totally, I totally understand. I'm just trying to see what's the seller's mindset on this one, because at the end, no one's buy the future. We buy the price as is, and at the end, what we're looking for is a value add, right? So we want to improve the rents and then improve the valuation.
Yeah, but not everybody has the same play, right? I might have a full price offer, and they're going to have somebody that's just looking for depreciation, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's their year one write off going to be on that? On 2-3?
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna be over $500,000, right?
Yeah.
Some high earner, and it's a great part of town. It's not gonna lose value. It's definitely a value add play, and on a bad day, it's gonna be worth 150 minimum on the back end. So minimum, that's on the worst day. So it's not, it is what it is. The cap rate going in doesn't matter.
Are you the seller, Gary, or are you the broker representing the seller?
I'm a broker representing the seller.
Okay. And have you been actively selling properties with a lower cap rate in the area?
Yeah, I've sold all kinds of properties.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be a punk. I'm just pushing back because you're pushing on me, right?
No. Actually, that wasn't my intention. I just wanted to see why is the reason the seller is trying to sell their property with a lower cap rate.
Well, if you were selling a property, do you guys try to sell for a lower cap rate or a higher cap rate?
Well,
if your hedge fund selling a property, you guys like to sell at a lower cap rate or a higher cap rate?
Well, I think that it depends, because when we are dealing with properties, let's say in the 20 or 30 million range, or maybe more than that, we're dealing with big players. They know what they're buying. But when we're dealing with small deals like 2-3 million, you can target big players range, but also smaller players as well. And sometimes they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement. I've sold big deals too at compressed cap rates, just like this one. I sold Chapelwood not far away from it about a year and a half ago, 133 unit in Loveland, Ohio. That didn't have a good trailing cap rate, and all those bigger players, they wanted it too.
Okay, perfect. So meaning, I guess that
your underwriting is more sophisticated. I get it, right? But like the way that I underwrote these, they're not the way as individual properties. Chances are they're most likely going to self-manage, right? If you have a 5 units or an 8 unit or a 10 unit, you're going to self-manage. So that's why I didn't put a management fee in, for example, right? The underwriting came off an 8825. I didn't have an itemized P&L. Otherwise, I probably would have been able to dig out a lot of the expenses, because right now the expense load per unit seems pretty high. And I know the reasons, but it's hard to explain it to people, right? And nobody's really going to know until they get into it. So until they get into the 8825 themselves and be able to dig in the weeds like I did. But if you want to submit an offer, I'm happy to talk about it. But I've sold big and small deals too, I guess is my point, right? And it's a price per pound deal. You thought you were probably calling some realtor or real estate agent that didn't really know how to talk the lingo, I assume. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, that's why we got off to the wrong foot, right?
when this property was listed,
it was listed. Let me tell you the exact dates. It was listed on the 8th, Tuesday, October 8th, 1 week ago.
and you receiving offers until tomorrow, or
Well,
it's like a final date?
We're going to start reviewing them at 1 p.m. tomorrow. My assumption is the seller's going to want to go to a best and final, but I'm not, I'm just speaking. I'm making an assumption. I'm not speaking for him because it's ultimately his decision.
Okay.
You want me to send you some more information about the area?
Well,
I see what's going on in that area.
I know the area is getting momentum. But let me ask you something. If we offer full asking price, is the seller willing to carry some of the portion of the loan?
No, but you can offer it that way. Legally, I have to take it to him, right?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. All right.
He's probably gonna say no, I'd assume, right?
Well, I'm just asking. And it
No,
does.
I know. I'm just telling you the truth.
Okay.
I'm
Perfect.
just being fully transparent with you.
We can give it a shot, though.
You should. If you like making money, I would definitely recommend it. It's a good property. It's a great area. It's did you read through every word of the OM?
Mm-hmm.
Click on
Yeah.
all the links.
Yeah.
So you saw the Mason Mile project.
Yep.
This C number 2 on the link I just texted you, for example. So that they're talking about building an amphitheater right behind the 208 building. And essentially what this is the city's going to redevelop this area, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to bring in a co-developer, but they're going to redevelop this area. And Mason's a great area. You got the Western and Southern. You got all kinds of things over there. The Kings Island. You can look at the demographics page on the market overview. If you saw that, I mean, you saw, I don't know, where's 419? Is that Pennsylvania?
No, this is I live nearby Toledo.
Okay. Well, then your market's not that much different than ours. I'd assume it's not that much different, but yeah, Mason's a really good area. That's all I can really say. Yeah,
it is. All right, perfect. So thank you so much, Gary. Let me run some numbers and I'll keep you posted. Well, actually, the email that is in the OM is the correct one to send the offer to?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you can call me back or text me if you have other questions, but the cap rate's compressed. It's the price per pound deal. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's the sticks and bricks are worth more than the trailing numbers. So you don't perform a base underwriting. So all good?
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Okay, a couple of things I don't know if you noticed, but number one, in his tone of voice, there was a lot of ego. And I think the ego came from several things. He felt offended. And I believe this happens when there are brokers who are a bit inexperienced. He portrayed himself as having a lot of experience in multifamily properties. And he said, I have sold this, I have done that, I have done the other. But I really don't think he has his feet on the ground. Notice that he is putting the property at a charge of 4%. To put it in context, the lower the cap rate, the higher the value of the property, and that's why they are valuing it at 2.1 million versus 4%. But notice that at one point I asked him, hey, what's the cap rate in the area? And he didn't really know how to answer me. That's when I realized he's really not a novice and he is pushing back. He is kind of defensive. with a defensive tone. As human beings, when we are confident in what we do, I don't have to push back or take out my ego. When I take out my ego, I realize, or when another person takes out their ego, I realize that I just pressed a button and that there is weakness in that area, especially in men more than in women. There is weakness in that area. I just pressed a sore spot, something that hurts them, and men start using words to self-defend or defend their point and pretend that they know a lot when they know nothing. I realize when a person is confident in what they are saying, why use ego? If I am sure about what I am talking about, I do not have to use ego. And of course, when I ask the person, what is the cap rate in the area? And I ask the question intentionally so that he realizes himself or gives me the answer if he knows it and realizes that the cap rate we are using is incorrect. And he tells me his response was something like, no, you can ask around the people who live in the area, the broker, the property manager. I tell him, well, I was talking to several brokers and property managers in the area, and the cap rate in the area is from 5.5 to 6.5, so we can use 6 as a middle range. And he says, yes, it sounds like that's what has been selling in the area. And notice that if we sell it, if we calculate it at 6%, the property is not worth 2.1 million. It is worth 1.6 million. He is using the argument that the price is being compressed based on the projection of what can be achieved in the future. And that's when I tell him, well, but nobody buys the future. When you buy a property, you buy it in the present to add value in the future. And that's really the real estate business. And he says, yes, but I have a lot of offers, this, that, and the other. And I ask him, why? Why don't you want to? Or he argues back to me and I say, look, Gary, let's be realistic. When we are dealing with properties worth 20, 30, 40, or $50 million, the buyers know what they are doing because they are big players in the business. But when you are selling a property worth $2 million, big players may come in, but small players who don't know what they are doing might also come in, and that's why they might be willing to pay you a price above the actual value. And he accepted it. If you listen carefully to the conversation, he accepted, let's say, in an indirect way. He didn't say it directly, but he indirectly accepted that this is the game he is playing. So, what's the moral of this? Number one, you have to know how to run the numbers on multifamily properties because there are many brokers out there, especially in small deals, who are they try to sell you the future projection, but no one buys the future, you buy the present. And of course, they take advantage of the fact that $2 million isn't a lot of money. Remember that you don't necessarily have to buy these in cash. If the property is worth $2,100,000 and you secure a loan with a 75% loan to value, you would need to bring approximately $500,000 to the table. $500,000 is a lot of money. A lot of people out there have $500,000, or two partners come together, with one bringing $250,000 and the other $250,000. In other words, it is really a very accessible value for people out there who have no experience, and the broker often wants to take advantage of this. What would I do in this place? I wouldn't make an offer yet. I would keep the property tucked away in my drawer. Why? Because I am not willing to pay that price yet. I believe the property is too overvalued. I would wait. If they sell it to someone else at that price, then great. Good for them, but bad for the buyer because they made a mistake. If the property stays on the market for a while, and the new property has been on the market for more than a week, then I would call them to negotiate again. In the end, this is a numbers game and not an emotional game. And when we get emotional or make decisions based on emotions, we lose the business.